Good evening, and welcome everybody to this evening's Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting. Thank you all for attending this evening. I know that England have just played their next game in their qualifying round and have managed to get a draw, so glad you're here for that. I'm going to start off with public question time. The public are welcome to ask questions of the committee on matters that are contained in the agenda. If the answer cannot be given immediately, an answer can be provided later in writing. There is no right of reply to the chairman's response. We have nobody in the room, and nobody on Zoom. So I shall commence and move forward with the agenda. Item 1 is apologies for absence and any substitutions. I have some apologies. We have town mayor who's on twinning in Border Péage in the rain, and the deputy town mayor has a personal engagement, prior engagement, and councillor Peacock has also sent his apologies. May we accept those apologies? I propose that we accept the apologies. May I have a second? Slow down, July. Item 2 on the agenda is to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of March 2024 and on the 30th of May 2024. I'd like to propose the minutes for accuracy. Please may I have a second?
I'd like to second that.
Thank you, Councillor Belsey.
Are you going to slow down?
Thank you. Sorry, I've had a really long day. No excuse.
It's in the other one.
Oh, is there two?
Oh, two. There's big. That's something.
That's why you're sitting.
It's in the other one.
Two more go, yeah.
Town clerk, they're on side. All right, item 3, to receive any declarations of interest. Are there any new declarations or anything relevant to the agenda this evening? No, thank you very much. All right. Item 4, chairman's announcements. I really just want to say, I've only really got one thing. Armed Forces Day coming up on the 29th of June here in the Meridian Hall, and it's from 11 till 1, so please come along. And tying in with that, I'd just like to also mention John Grantham, who has always played a significant part in not only the Armed Forces Day, but Remembrance Service as well. We're saddened to hear the news of his passing. I'd just like to mention that to everybody too. All right, item 5, to receive the list of approved payments for March, April and May 2024. These are a list of payments for approval. If there are any questions, down here is going to be best to answer them. Yeah, Councillor Barnett.
The Mid-Sussex payment for the elections, which was in the 2023 election, is it normally take this long for it to come through? It's also quite high compared to the one 4 years before as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first part of your question, yes, it is very long, to take that long. And the second part is, it was anticipated to be considerably higher than 4 years ago, yes. Did go back and query it with Mid-Sussex to get a detailed breakdown, which they did provide, and once we saw the detailed breakdown, it did explain the reasons behind it. Yes.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, noting. Noted. Right. Item 6, the town council finances and the position statement. Again, over to Dan. This is noting, but Dan, happy to answer any questions anyone around the table may have. Do you want to go through some?
Didn't have anything to add to this item, only just to say that as with said in the report, as of this time last year, I haven't included the full income and expenditure statement for this financial year, as it's only got 2 months worth of data. But the summary of it, so for April and May, year-to-date income is 89,970, which is 25% of our budgeted income for the year. And year-to-date expenditure is currently 242,000, which is 15% of our budgeted expenditure for the year.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, that's the noting. Thank you. Right, item 7, performance indicator, receive report on the current KPI for invoices in absence, again for noting. Does anyone have any questions on that? No? The report makes it quite clear that the absence is mainly the one that hasn't come back from it's in keeping with last year. So, that's for noting. Right. Oh, steaming through. Item 8, recommendations from committee. Believe it or not, this time round, we have no recommendations from any committee this year. So moving on to item 9, which is delegated decisions. Any delegated decisions since the last cycle will be noted. There have not been any for this committee. It's unusual, but we are not going to be in the cycle of finance. All right. We're moving on to item 10, calendar of meetings. This is just after the town council meeting, that's Wednesday the 26th of March, be changed to Tuesday the 25th. This is the second year running this meeting has clashed with Mid Sussex. It is recommended that we no longer schedule it for a Wednesday to avoid having to move this meeting once the Mid Sussex dates are announced. So I'm recommending that we change the date of the annual town meeting to Tuesday, the 25th of March. So in the future, scheduling on a Tuesday. So I'd like to propose that. Please may I have a second.
I can second that motion.
Thank you. All those in favour? Super, thank you. Very sensible decision for us to do that. Item 11 is the working groups and subcommittees for 2024-25. The working group and subcommittees for 2024-25 are proposed as consultation group, which is the chair and vice chair of F&GP, the chair of planning, the chair of the relevant committee, Councillor Mockford, supported by the town clerk, reporting to F&GP committee. The neighbourhood plan review group is the chair and vice chair of F&GP and vice chair of planning, Councillor Gibson, supported by the town clerk, reporting to the F&GP committee. The personnel subcommittee is the chair and vice chair of F&GP and the town mayor with support of the town clerk, reporting to the F&GP committee. The budget 2025-26 working group is the chair and vice chair of F&GP, the deputy town mayor, Councillor Barnett, with the support of the clerk and the RFO, reporting to all committees. And finally, the shared services working group, which is the chair and vice chair of ENST, Councillor Whitaker, Councillor Gibson, and Mr. Graham Russell from East Grinstead Business Association, and Mr. Charlie Martell, also from East Grinstead Business Association, with officer support from the clerk or deputy clerk, reporting to ENST committee. If you, I don't wish to vary any of those groups. If you wish to vary any, this can be discussed now, if you want to make any changes. My recommendation is I approve for approval the committees as stated with their membership. Please may I have a second.
I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. Would anybody like to make a comment? Okay, we can move to accept the committees as proposed. Okay. Thank you. Right. All right. Now we're moving on to item 12. Oh, sorry, Councillor Gibson.
Yes, just a comment, Chair, if I can, that just to report that there is a training course on neighbourhood plans being run by NALC, which is in September. I'm delighted to say that Worth Parish Council will be paying for me to attend, but other people may wish to actually sign up for that. Assuming that there is neighbourhood plans after the 5th of July.
Yes, thank you. Can they wish? Thank you very much. Right, item 12 is to the approval of the annual review of effectiveness of internal control. This is the statutory statement for the end of year account, along with the external audit inspection. We are delighted to advise yet again, we are an unqualified audit, meaning that our finances and governance procedures are all correct, examined and in place. This one is to note, if you have any questions or anything to add, I'm going to pass over to Dan, see if you've got anything to add before it's noted.
I've got nothing to add.
Right, noted?
Noted.
Thank you. Right.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Item 13 is the annual return and statement of annual accounts. This is where we have to reply to the questions on the statutory return. The officers that prepared the papers and committee and council have to vote to submit these as stated. Dan can explain the detail and answer any questions. They do need to be voted on to accept the accounts and recommended to council to sign the papers for submission. I just want to make a point here. I just want to, I'd like it noted that the pre-approved expenditure of 95,000 from the general reserve that we agreed to spend on the Sunnyside Farm and the Barbara. So, but because the budget was managed so well throughout the year, only 51,000 was needed in reserves. So a huge congratulations to Julie and Dan for this. Would you like to make any comments on that before we go to proposed recommendations?
No comments, no.
Right, so my proposal is to recommend to council to approve the annual governance and accountability return 2023-2024 by A, confirming yes to questions 1 to 8 and not applicable to question 9 as set out in the annual governance statement, section 1, contained in appendix E of the FNGP committee papers of today's date, 20th of June 2024, and to agree that this then to be signed by the chairman and the town clerk. B, accepting the accounting statement, section 2, as set out in appendix F, the FNGP committee papers dated today, the 20th of the 6th, 2024. Please may I have a second?
I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Berthy.
Do you want to say anything before we go to the vote on this? Because this is the main
This
point,
is the main.
or you can leave that for council.
I mean, a lot of what I was going to say is contained within the papers. If you would like me to go through it.
Why don't we see what Chris
Yes.
Yeah.
Question on the document you received about that. Nothing to go through on the figures. Yes.
I'd just like to ask on 7 on the balances carried forward between the 2 years, just whether or not my interpretation is correct.
Would you mind to list the page number that you're looking at?
So I'm looking at Annex F. Have I got the right thing? Have I got Appendix F?
Appendix F, yeah.
Section 2, it'll be the first page, as it is the Eastminster Town Council accounting statement. Have I got the right? Am I on the right page?
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. It was just the difference. I always look to see the balances carried forward between the two. It seems to be one of the measures which for some reason my eyes light on every year, just to make sure that the 874 there and the 874 matches at the top and bottom. It gives me a degree of confidence as a starting point.
Likewise.
But the thing that struck me about this is the £240,000 decline between the two, and really, what does that reflect anything in the, is that something we should be concerned about, that we are carrying less forward into next year?
No, it's nothing that you should be concerned about, and without any shadow of doubt, by far, the biggest reason, unsurprisingly, for that drop there is the purchase of Sunnyside Farm.
I noticed that it is balanced by the increase in total fixed assets. Yes. that's
Yeah,
the-
yeah,
So I found.
exactly.
And that's why my question was,
Yeah.
it's liquidity versus,
Yeah, so no, there's nothing to be concerned about. The general reserve, as Chair mentioned earlier, the general reserve has gone down by 51,000, but that was lower than we we're expecting. It is bringing us down at about, I think it's 24% of this year's budgeted net revenue expenditure. The SIPA guidelines are that it should ideally, your general reserve should be between 25% and 50% of your net revenue expenditure.
I think every council that I sit on is having difficulty.
Exactly, and we're at 24%. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
and let's say the position that we could have been in, I think at the start of the year, we were anticipating a worse position than we are.
Thank you, you've answered my question. That was just, thank you.
Thank you. Right, are there any more questions on the table? Then could we please take a vote to accept the recommendation?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Right. Item 14 is the council's allowances that were claimed in 2023-2024. This report will advise the amount claimed by councillors in the 2023-2024 year. This is the annual report I'm just noting. We are required to publish this under the Transparency Act. Is this noted?
Noted.
Thank you. Item 15 is the annual staff and training report for 2022-2023. Correct, it should be 22-23?
No, it
It
should
should be 23-24. I'll repeat that. Item 15 is the annual staff and training report for 2023-2024. This report will advise the training undertaken and the statements as required under transparency regulations for local councils regarding salary. Again, this is just for noting it's an annual requirement. So is that noted?
Noted.
Thank you. I'd also like to say, well, there's an awful lot of training being achieved by everybody, so, and everyone's managed to get all statutory done, so quite impressive with the team, the amount of teams you've got and the time they found to do that, so that's really good. Item 16 is policy review. There's 3 policies that have been brought forward as part of our ongoing reviews that have been happening over the last 12 months. This review is almost complete now. There'll be 1 or 2 others that are necessary for the setting up of the youth club this September, which were not available for this meeting today, and will instead be straight to council to avoid the need for a special meeting to approve them. These 4 policies are attached and are recommended by to the committee for adoption. So the first one is night test policy, which is statutory, flexible working, which is Appendix I. There are some changes in this in the law, which is why there's been some changes in this, and we need to have that to be compliant. And there's the protocol on the reporting of filming of council and committee meetings, and the sponsorship policy, which is Appendix J. So I would like to propose that we accept those as in the documents. Please, may I have a second?
I'd like to second that. Can I just say, protocol on the recording rather than reporting?
Sorry, correct, recording.
Just for.
Thank you, no, for clarity. Okay, has anyone got any questions when the policies? Right, I did have a
Just
couple earlier.
Chair, that 3 of these are just simply updating. The only new policy there is the sponsorship policy. The other 2 is the updating of existing, and as you quite correctly pointed out, due to changes in the
Yeah.
The only change in the flexible working policy, which we do have one that was in existence, but the main change is a very, well, I say subtle change, I suppose it could be deemed as a big change. But it's
I think I thought it was a big change.
yeah, I suppose it could be deemed
I
as
thought it
that.
was a big change, so.
It's largely regarding when a member of staff joins an organisation, they have the right to request flexible working from day one of their employment, which wasn't previously the case.
And again, just to clarify.
Yeah, so no, I just-
There's a difference between requesting and approving. They'll still go through a process, it will still have to be looked at. And if it's not appropriate at that point in time, then the authority has the absolute right to refuse that request at that time. So, yes, Chair, good
I did raise that earlier, so, I have now had it clarified, and, read through the policy to the bitter end. I'm happy to propose it, wasn't I happy before that? So, I proposed, we've had a second, can we vote to accept those? Carried, thank you. I just realised you got the so item 17 is the revenues grant application. The application has been received early. We've had an early application and these would normally be determined during the autumn round. However, as the new group, this is actually for the oh, please, Clark, remind me of the name of the revenues. There's the Armed Forces Veterans and it's for. I can't get their official name. Yes. They're a new group and they haven't funds at the moment. It seemed appropriate to bring it forward to try and assist them. So we're trying to assist the East Grinstead Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club, the official title. It's far more than than supplying and buying bacon rolls, and will help to allow them sharing of the group and to help with their loneliness, forming friendships and fellowship with others. And the veterans get together. It's a time-hosted place where they can come. I feel it would be appropriate to make an award of up to £500 without unduly affecting the awards to be made in September. The grant fund this year has been raised from £3,000 to £5,000. So I'm recommended to award £500 to the East Grinstead Armed Forces Veterans Breakfast Club. Please may I have a second?
I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. Do I have any comments around the table? Okay, well, I'd like to move to approve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Well done. Record time, I feel. So please advise that our next meeting of the committee will be held on the 26th of September 2024. The time is now 52 minutes past 7. Let's start the meeting at 19:23. Welcome everybody to the special council meeting. There are no public questions for this meeting, and we're going to go straight on. We are recording. Okay. The first item on the agenda is to elect a chair for this meeting. As the town mayor and the deputy town mayor are both unavailable, and as the chair of FNGP, I call somebody to nominate a chair for this evening's meeting.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Barnett.
Thank you. Please may I have a second?
Happy to say.
Thank you, Councillor Barnett. All those in favour? Let's vote. Thank you very much. Swiftly moving forward. Okay. Item 2 is apologies from absence and then declarations of interest. We've had apologies, as you know, from the town mayor, the deputy town mayor, both unable to attend to prior commitments. The town mayor is in town twinning. We've also had apologies from Councillor Godwin, Councillor Peacock, Councillor Hughes, who is stuck in traffic, unfortunately. Are there any other apologies? Thank you. All right, I'd like to accept that we approve those apologies. All those in favour, please have a second. Second. All those in favour?
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any new declarations of interest? Super. Right, item 3 is to formally resolve the annual return. The annual return has to be signed and submitted before the end of June and posted for public scrutiny in July. Therefore, the special meeting is necessary. The papers have just been recommended by the F&GP committee. We need to take these separately and to require separate minute number for each one. So, section 1, the annual governance statement. I'd like to propose that the council approve the annual governance statement as recommended by the Finance and General Purposes Committee and included as Appendix E in the report dated the 20th of June 2024. I'd like to ask for a second.
I'd like to second that proposal.
Thank you very much. Any comments? All those in favour? Okay. Thank you. Section 2, accounting statements for 2023-2024 financial year. I'd like to propose that the council approve the annual return as recommended by the shown as Appendix F of the Finance and General Purposes report dated the 20th of June 2024. Please may I have a second?
I'd like to second that proposal.
Thank you. Any questions, any comments? Thank you. All those in favour? Okay. Thank you. Finally, the annual internal audit report. I'd like to propose the council accept the findings of the auditor's report as recommended by the Finance and General Purposes Committee and shown at agenda items 12 and 13 and Appendix C of their committee notes on the 20th of June 2024. Please may I have a second?
I'd like to second that proposal.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All those in favour? Thank you very much. I'd really like to thank Mr. Chambers for preparing the finance papers and for dealing with the auditors and your consideration this evening. Thank you. Thank you, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Joan.
The date of the next Town Council meeting is Monday, the 1st of July at 7 p.m. in the Council Chambers. Close this meeting at 19:28.